Keys and Kingdoms is one of the settings we're creating for the Aegis game system. We have no structure currently in place for the actual system, but the setting aims to combine your classic D&D style high fantasy with the vibes of a Disney-esque animated fairy tale musical, though generally with adult theming. Unless you run a campaign that's appropriate for children, you can do that, we're not doing that. This series of videos, using the only medium in which I can properly express myself, Microsoft PowerPoint, will show off the 10 Keys and Kingdoms core rules, people, and the manner in which we're interpreting them in our 5th edition homebrew campaign. Using the original 5e rules from 10 years ago, not the new ones, we don't have time to learn to master subtle differences to the system. It's going to be all about the imagination and telling a story in this world we're building. Let's talk about mermaids! Obviously a big deal in the fairy tale musical scene. Presenting them as a core species, a core option, that presents some difficulties. Most of these options, besides the big three, do actually. They're like super unconventional. Again, balance is not my aim. Balanced gaming these days exists in a weird state where, on the one hand, your characters can never be inconvenienced or disadvantaged ever no matter what, right? But at the same time, they can't do anything too awesome or powerful either. I, for one, like interesting disadvantages that have to be worked around, and I certainly like awesome things. So here's hoping that the Aegis system can achieve both ends of the spectrum instead of neither. I'm not one to talk, I know nothing about game balance, and have no idea what the system as a whole is going to look like. Here are the sample merfolk I commissioned. The design rules are very simple: human from the waist up, and the fishtail, no frills or interesting patterns or designs, just a vivid color and a lot of mass, longer than human legs and with a big wide fluke. They tend not to wear a lot of clothes, and we try to keep a nautical theme going there in their fashion choices. Wood and iron tend to quickly become useless underwater, so their equipment is usually carved from stone or coral. Merfolk tend not to have very much presence in D&D. They're usually there, but they never have much to do. In 5th edition, they're not technically playable, but they are on the list of creatures with stats you can use to make an NPC, which is where I started in building their Aegis stats. In 5th edition, and in the 5th edition version of their Aegis stats, size is medium. Land speed is slow, no other disadvantages to attempting to move on land, just a very slow speed, nice and simple, and swim speed is faster than a human's walking speed. Makes sense to me. And they have the amphibious trait, which in the game simply means they can breathe in both air and water. And that's it, that's all that 5th edition merfolk have, so we're going to add a few other things based on the planned traits of Aegis merfolk. In 5e, they have no ability score modifiers, just like humans. Here, we're giving them a +2 to charisma. I said earlier I'd need to have a really good reason to include a bonus to a mental stat, and in this case, that charisma bonus will be our 5e equivalent to the Aegis merfolk's beauty trait. Merfolk are so impossibly beautiful that any creature they meet finds them quite charming. How that mechanic will really work, I don't know yet. And then there's the beast telepathy ability. Merfolk can communicate telepathically with certain animals. They can exchange basic thoughts and ideas with any animal that can breathe underwater, and can speak fluently with whales and dolphins. Aging process and lifespan shall be exactly the same as humans. I know that's lazy, but fuck it, it's fantasy. We're humans, so it makes sense to us to use humans as a baseline, and I'm not coming up with a unique lifespan for every species. You can't make me. Creature type is humanoid, though a different clade of humanoids than humans, elves, and dwarves are. We'll get into the classification system another time. As water creatures, merfolk natively speak Aquan, the language of water elementals, the water dialect of the primordial language. Aegis will be using that system because it's a cool system. And it shall be assumed that merfolk adventurers know how to speak common. The typical alignment of merfolk is true neutral. I interpret that as meaning most merfolk civilians don't really have the commitment to fight evil or look out for their neighbors. Merfolk adventurers, presumably, are more likely to be on the charitable and heroic side. That's usually how that works. Thanks for joining me! Stay tuned for more vids on the peoples of Keys and Kingdoms.